إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. We continue explaining the hadith of Uqbah ibn Amir al-Juhani رضي الله عنه وأرضاه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أحق الشروط يوفى به ما استحللتم به الفروج. We concluding the explanation of this hadith on Uqbah ibn Amir al-Juhani رضي الله عنه وأرضاه. We mentioned and said that the most deserving of conditions that ought to be fulfilled, that which made the private parts halal, that which made the private parts lawful. As we said, Ya Ma'ashar al-Ikhwa, we were continuing from the last lesson. We said that the shurut of aqd al-nikah, of that which pertaining to the prerequisites that's made in the contract, we said that it broke down to those categories. Number one is that which is shurut al-nikah, يعني صحة النكاح. شروط النكاح يعني صحته. It's like the conditions of, or that which validates the marriage contract. صحة شروط النكاح أو عفوا شروط النكاح. شروط النكاح. In regards to the marriage contract, that which validates it. That's what validates the marriage contract. For example, all the arkan, or the pillars of what validates the marriage. For example, as we said, number one, the permission of the family, the wali. Number two, the mahar. Number three, the shuhud. And also likewise, of some of the shurut of what Ahl Ilm mentioned said, the i'lan of broadcasting or announcing the nikah upon a qawl of some of Ahl Ilm, upon a statement of some of Ahl Ilm, they say that that is an actual condition in nikah likewise. So that's what actually validates the marriage. Everything we mentioned. Permission from the wali. Then, like we said, also the mahar, the dowry. Permission from the wali al-amr or the wali al-mar'ah, the man who's in charge of the affairs of the woman. And after that, we said the shuhud, the actual witnesses need to be there. And these are the things that validates the marriage. That's what they call shurut al-nikah. Conditions of nikah, of marriage. Then you have the second, which is called a shurut fi nikah. Conditions in the contract. Those conditions in the contract, we said, are the awsaf al-nikah, or the awsaf aqd al-nikah. It's from the characteristics, if you want to say, that's put inside of the contract. What's the difference between the first one and the second one? I'm going to give an example. The first one is that which brings the marriage into life or brings it into play where it becomes valid. The second is those contract or those stipulations that are made from the people that they want to put in for the maslaha of the aqidain, meaning for the benefit of the people who are entering the contract. For example, that which is a condition where a woman will make and say, for example, if I marry you, I want you to give me $500 a month. I want you to give me $500 a month. Or or $500 that will aid me in my and aid me in my affairs as far as with my family or as far as my children that I had from my previous marriage or before I was Muslim, for example. Or these are what has to be paid as far as in regards to maintenance and things of that nature. Or a woman might say, if I marry you, I want to marry you with the condition that you take me to perform Hajj. You take me to perform Hajj. That's a shart. If it wasn't mentioned in the contract, does it render it invalid? Meaning that if a person didn't mention that at all, the marriage would still remain what, everyone? Still remain valid. So that's the difference between shurut of the nikah and shart shurut al-nikah or shurut fi nikah. That's the difference between the first category, as I mentioned last week, and the second. As I don't want to go over this again because we broke this down last week. Everybody should already know this. We also mentioned last week, we said the third, which is what? Which is already, when they say min bab tahsil al-hasil, that which is already given. Meaning, if a woman was to mention or a man was to mention in the contract, it wouldn't change anything or it wouldn't do anything. Meaning that it was just mentioned in order to emphasize a certain matter, because it's already an affair that has been obliged upon the man or the woman. For example, a woman marries a man and says to her, I want you to spend on me. That's something that's already an obligation. She doesn't have to make that a condition. It's something that Allah Ta'ala already obliged upon the man without her mentioning it in the first place. So that condition to be mentioned is not going to change anything, because that's something that's already a duty of a man. That's called, those conditions are muqtada, aqd al-nikah, something that's already given. It's already understood. It doesn't have to be mentioned, and if you mention it, it's only emphasizing the duty that Allah has obliged upon the man or the female. For example, a man might marry a woman and says, I want to marry you with the condition that you obey me, or with the condition that you obey me, or the condition that you cook food every day, or you cook. Oh man, so these days at times that does probably have to be a shart. Probably back in the day that would have been already known. The woman has to do domestic duties and clean and cater to her husband. But these days at times, you probably might have to make that a shart. A shart that's in the marriage. But something, for example, now this is a good example. For example, you say to a woman, I'll marry you with the condition that you don't have to attend Jumu'ah. That you don't attend, or you don't have to attend Jumu'ah. Something, or the condition that, hey, this is a good example. Ahsant. I will marry you with the condition that you wear jilbab. Man, subhanAllah, these days at times that might have to be no. But that, for a person that's practicing the religion, that's not something that you would have to say to a woman. That's already a duty. So would have to be what? That would not have to be mentioned, except that if you was to mention it, it would be considered what they say, min bab at-tawkid. It would be only from the aspect of you emphasizing the affair. That's it. But hence, it's already been a duty that a woman has to perform. So that is the third, in which we mentioned last week, right, everyone? We also mentioned there's shurut that are fasida, that are conditions that are invalid in the contract. That, for example, shurut that are impermissible. Shurut that are impermissible. For example, I'll marry you with the condition that you smoke a cigarette. That's a condition that's batil. And no one has to fulfill it, and it's haram for a person to what? Fulfill it. Like, for example, I'll marry you with the condition that you go to the bar, or you go somewhere it's not permissible to go, or a Muslim to be in that particular place. That's a condition that's what, as they say, shart, batil, fasid. It's a condition that's evil, it's invalid, and it's haram, it's unlawful. So a person does not have to what? Fulfill those type of stipulations or conditions. So we said number one is shurut, what, everyone? The one is what they call shurut al-nikah nafsah, if you want to say shurut, the conditions or the stipulations of the marriage contract, which makes it valid, such as what? The wali, the permission from the wali al-amr or wali amr al-mar'ah, from the one or the man who's in charge of the woman's affairs, that you receive his permission to marry her. Second, for example, also the mahar, the dowry, and then you have what? The shuhud, to the end of it. That's the first, right, everyone? طيب, the second is what they say, shurut fi aqd al-nikah, in the conditions of the what? Of the contract or the marriage contract itself. That's conditions that a person would make, as they say, لِمَصْلَحَةِ الْعَاقِدَيْنِ, for the benefit of the two parties. For the benefit of the two parties. Like I just gave an example, a woman would mention in the marriage contract, if you marry me, I want to accompany you, I want to accompany you in performing Hajj. I want to accompany you in performing Hajj. She can make that contract, there's nothing wrong with that. Or, for example, she'll make a contract and say, طيب, I will marry you with the condition that I stay temporarily for the first year duration of my marriage with, for example, in my country or my city for a couple of months before I come and live with you. I would like to stay with my family for an extra 3 months or 4 months, 5 months. Arabic is 4 or 5 months, and then after that, I'll live with you. She can say that if she wants. Make the condition before, saying, for example, I don't want to leave it might due to a sickness of the mother. For example, I want to be by my mother's side. She has cancer, so I'd rather live with her for a month or 3 months to take care of her. Then, if you don't mind, then we'll live together after that duration. That type of shart, for example, she makes it in the contract before they marry, so they could be about clarity. Or, for example, a woman will make in the contract, give an example saying that a woman might say to her husband, to the man she desires to marry, I want to marry you with the condition that if you have the ability to spend this amount of money to give it to me on a monthly basis. There's nothing wrong with that. Rather, we emphasized upon the sisters to do this. It's a shame that you would think that men would know automatically that they have to provide and take care of the maintain the women. But however, due to these days and these corrupt days that we live in, a woman now will have to come and make it clear what she wants. She'll have to make it clear in the contract, I'll marry you with the... Sisters, when they come in, can they lock the door, please? Shut the door. If a woman says that if I marry you with the condition that what? For example, I'll marry you if we agree on $500 a month, that's what I need, and that you give it at this specific time, and I need it on this particular day, she can make a condition like that. Due to the fact that the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he mentioned it says, Al-Muslimun ala shurutihim illa shatan ahalla haraman or harama halalan. There's a hadith which is in Umdat al-Ahkam, which all of us should know because it's from those hadith of ahkam revolved around fiqh issues. That's those basic hadith that one memorizes when he first wants to learn the affairs of fiqh. In Umdat al-Ahkam, he says that the Prophet ﷺ said that the Muslims are upon their own conditions, except the condition that makes something lawful unlawful, or makes something lawful unlawful, or makes something unlawful making it what? Lawful. So every shart, if a Muslim wants to make a condition, the origin of it is hil. The origin of it, that is what? Lawful. As long as it doesn't what? Make something in which Allah has made it lawful, that it becomes what? Unlawful. Or a condition, the vice versa, where a person says, a condition that makes something lawful in the religion, then he wants by that condition, he makes it what? No, he makes it lawful. It was unlawful in the religion, and he makes it unlawful. طيب. Also the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is hadith of Aisha, which is the famous hadith in fiqh, where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the hadith which is known as what they call hadith Barira. Hadith Barira is a tremendous hadith, and it's known with the people who study fiqh, But the Prophet ﷺ mentioned it, said at the end of the narration, we announced in front of the people, كل شرط ليس في كتاب الله فهو باطل ولو كان 100 شرط. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, said that any condition that's not in the book of Allah, meaning that it opposes it, or it's in opposition against it, he said that it is false and is batil, it's rejected and is false, even if it's 100 conditions. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying that in these narrations, the Muslims can make a condition as long as that what? It does not oppose the Kitab and the Sunnah, and also likewise, it doesn't make anything that was lawful in the religion that is rendered now or is made unlawful, and likewise vice versa. طيب. So we said it breaks down to all these categories, right everyone? So the first one is what validates the marriage. Secondly is what? The conditions in the marriage, or the conditions in the contract. Thirdly, is that what they call muqtada shurut al-aqd, that which is already given, that it has to be done. It's the third that we mentioned. And the fourth, what is what? Considered muharram, which is considered unlawful, and that one is not supposed to fulfill it, even if it's mentioned, and a person is not obliged to fulfill it whatsoever. طيب. Now we're going to give different examples. Hold on for example. Hold on for 1 second. Excuse me. As it says on the الثاني ما كان مخالفا لمقتضى العقد. We already gave examples of this. To give numerous examples, for example, a person would say الثاني. Just giving examples to make it more clear, for more clarity. That the wife, and we want to give a test to see which categories would this fall under, based upon the condition or the different categories we mentioned. Which one of these examples would it fall under? For example, a man will say he'll make a condition upon his wife. For example, do not prohibit me from being intimate with you, even if you're in the state of your mens. What would that fall under? That's muharram. It's a haram. طيب. What if the woman makes a condition upon a man saying, I want you to give me more than what you give your co-wife? Muharram. That shart is batil. Shart is what? It's muharram. Person is not supposed to fulfill it. What if a woman was to say, for example, I make a condition that I want a specific dowry, it being $500. Second, ahsant. That's the condition of, which is the second category. Mumtaz. That'd be the second category. It's permissible. A woman can say that. I want $500 for my dowry, and I want for example, my maintenance in my marriage to be $500 a month. And I would like it to have it on a certain date and a certain time. That's permissible. It's jaiz. It's permissible for a woman to do that. Permissible for a woman to do this. طيب. For example, what if a woman says, if I was to marry you, I want to make a stipulation or put in the contract, I would like a khadim, or I would want to hire, as they would say, a maid for my mother in my absence because she's sick. Or, for example, or I might need a maid for myself because sometimes I'm sick and I'm not able to carry out certain duties in the house. Jaiz, it's the second category. Second category, of course. A husband will ask his wife, I will marry you with the condition that you cover. That's not even supposed to be mentioned, but what would that be? That'd be the third one. That'd be the third. That's something that's already given. You don't have to tell your wife. She's supposed to be doing it anyway. She's supposed to be doing it anyway. It's a duty. That's already Allah has obliged upon her. The fact that you mentioned it, that's only from the aspect of what? Emphasizing the affair. No more, no less. Or I want you to cover, I would marry you with the condition that you cover your feet outside. That's number 3. That's something that Allah has already obliged upon the woman to perform. Woman is not supposed to be walking around with her feet out, outside. طيب. I want to marry you with the condition that you do not wear a weave in your hair. That's number what? Number 3. طيب. A woman says, I want to marry you with the condition that you don't wear a mohawk. That's number what? 3. That's number 3. The man's not supposed to be walking around with a hairstyle of a mohawk whatsoever. طيب. I want to marry you with the condition, for example, no problem. A woman will say to a man, I want to marry you with the condition that you stop wearing tight jeans. It's a shame, though, but this is the days we live in now. It's the days we live in now. I remember one of the brothers told me, he says, you have your wife covered up fully, but you walking around looking like 50 Cent. I think Umar Quinn said that. That was funny. How you have your wife have an overhead abaya on, face covered, but you walking outside looking like 50 Cent. Really? You understand? So a woman right now, she's walking around and she makes these conditions. This is something that what? Is obliged upon. The man already performed. He's supposed to already do these affairs. It's not supposed to be what? Even mentioned as a condition. This is something that's already known. He knows he's not supposed to be either doing these affairs or he's supposed to actually be performing certain affairs or certain duties. So it's not just something that has to be mentioned. Like, what about if a woman mentions or says, I want to marry you with the condition that you go to Jumu'ah. That's the third. That's what I'm saying. These conditions don't have to be mentioned. Like, for example, I want to marry you with the condition that you perform your 5 salawat. That's the what? It's third. That you're just only mentioning that out of emphasis. That's something that the man already automatically supposed to be doing. And it's a shame, but also what's supposed to go along with that is also, I want to marry you with the condition that you spend on me. That's also already a duty that's been made in the contract. It doesn't have to be mentioned because it's something that, if you mention, it's already given. He's supposed to do it automatically. But if she mentions it, then she's just emphasizing the affair. Or, for example, I want to marry you with the condition that, and now this is something that we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. I want to marry you with the condition that I would like to marry you, sister, with the condition that, what could you say? That you cook every day at a certain time. What category that would be? That would be, we would say number 2. Number 2. Even though the woman's supposed to obey the husband, that's the natural huquq of the man over the wife. But she might come with certain circumstances. If that, then she's excused. But if a man mentioned and said, I want you to cook 4 days out the week for me. These are meals. It's a shame, but these are days we live in. We live in some crazy days where things which you would think that's automatically duties, now you have to actually make it a shart in the aqid in order for it to get done. And likewise for the or vice versa with the man's side. Women now have to tell men what money to give them a month. Like, for example, to tell them, listen, this is the money I want for a month at this time. I need it. This is the exact money of what I want on this day and time. It's a shame that you would think men before already knew this, but now women have to actually make it a shart in order for it to get done. It's a shame, but that's the days we live in now. So it goes both ways. It's not just one-sided, but due to the fact in the place that we live in, you'll find, like we said, these are problems that occurs, and it causes a lot of problems in the marriages. And the marriages, Since I've been in the Dawah for the 90s, there's been conferences and classes and conferences and classes about marriage and divorce and marriage and marital problems, domestic problems, one after another, for years. I'm talking about years. It's giving us headaches. I'm talking about all the du'ats from the Salafis is giving us headaches. Problems after another, after divorce, after a husband, I'm talking about, it's like an epidemic. It will not stop. So what we're saying is, in order to minimize these problems, which we do to try to come to these solutions, that which has to be mentioned in the marriage contract to be on clarity. And a lot of the problems comes, like we said, when the woman is involved in a relationship with the man before, until this wasn't even mentioned at all. And then it causes a lot of what? Problems. Well, sister, I told him he doesn't give me he doesn't pay my bills, he doesn't do anything. Then you get to the root of the problem. Oh, did you mention it in the contract? Then she'll think, oh, he was my boyfriend. You understand? So I already started off wrong. So then it adds up to more what? Problems. Then it just compiles and it accumulates the issues after another issue. So these are things in which we said we broke down to the categories. We said it breaks down to these four. Right, everyone? So you have number one, shurut al-nikah, shurut fi al-nikah. Then you have that which is shurut bi muqtada al-aqd. Then you have shurut fasida. Those four categories that we broke it down. We gave numerous examples of that. For example, I'm going to give another example. A woman say, I want to marry you with the condition that I want to stay in my city. I want to stay in my country. That's number two. I want to marry you, but with the condition that I want to remain in my city, in my country. I don't want to move. I want to stay where I'm at. Meaning, so she can see her family, she can see her relatives. It's permissible. It's jaiz. Just give me 1 second. So these are conditions that if it's made in the nikah, if it's made in the aqd nikah, in the marriage contract, then it's what everyone is jaiz. It's permissible. As long as it's not in opposition against the kitab and the sunnah, then those affairs are what? Jaiz, for a woman to ask. Now, if it's not fulfilled, what happens? We'll talk about that, inshallah, in a couple of minutes. Now, what was the question? Mm-hmm.
So he had explained to Umar explained to him to the effect of, forgive me for not accurately. She feeds my child, she cleans my house, she washes my clothes. None of these are her duties. And ultimately I always wonder, because I heard...
Just find me the narration if it says none of these are my duties. Find out, because if it says it in that particular other. Find it. But if the man commands her to do it, then it becomes an obligation. If he commands her. If he's fulfilling her rights. A lot of men think that when they're coming up short or they're not performing the aspect of nafaqah, of providing a place to stay and also paying the bills that he said he was going to do, that she's supposed to be the ultimate robot, even though he's coming up short. It goes both hand in hand. Man has to be fulfilling his duties and the woman fulfilling hers. It goes hand in hand. It's not the fact that you didn't do what you want and then the woman's supposed to be devoutly obedient. La. You understand? It goes hand in hand. Man's supposed to be performing what he said he was going to do, and in return, the woman does what she said she's supposed to do, and those duties she's supposed to perform. Because it's a two-way street. It's not one-sided. Then you have problems out here that on the opposite side. You find there's men out here that are doing the best that they can, and it's still you'll find women that complain. I've heard those problems. You find that you think there was things which are naturally supposed to be done from a woman, that they would do it. For example, cooking, keeping the house clean, and making sure the children are groomed and things of that nature. and they come up short in those aspects, and if you've gone to what's the problem, what's the reason, it's just mere neglect, or it's being lazy. The thing is that in these days and times, especially our days we live in, we have to really make these supplications with the Prophet ﷺ had emphasized for us, that he had emphasized for us to what? To make, in order to remove from us a lot of different sicknesses that we might be tested with. For example, laziness. There's a dua for that. There's a dua for being lazy. There's a dua for being lackadaisical. There's a dua for that. There's dua for depression. There's dua for sadness. All those things that might hinder a person from doing their daily affairs, there's dua for it. However, we don't want to take advantage of those particular avenues to try to remove these different sicknesses from us. So if a person is attested with being lazy, make the dua first, seek a cure in which Allah Ta'ala has sent down first, before you resort to something from the creation, thinking that those medicines that are especially in it, chemicals that might lead to something more detrimental. For a person, we say, try to seek the cure from those ad'iyah, those supplications, so it can make a person energetic, so he can perform his or her duties. Like I said, you'll find there's problems on every opposite side of the extreme. I hear from the men complaining, I hear from the women complaining. I've heard so many different scenarios, and you try to give and find what's going on, and the situation is deeper than what one is displaying. Either one is telling half the truth, because I've seen a lot of these different situations, whether it's in Philadelphia, even here. You tell people they're not telling you the full picture, whether it be the sisters or the brothers. They give you half the truth, and they're not telling what they are doing or what they're not doing. And the sisters likewise, both. People give you half truths, as they say, half truths or whatever they want to say. They give that to you, and then how can you get the advice that suits your situation if you're not giving me the full picture of what's going on? So you're saying you'll find, like we said, it's problems on both aspects. You have it from the sister side, and you have it from the what? Brother side. Either the brother might not be coming up, or he's coming up short, and the sister's doing what she's supposed to do the best way she can, but he's coming up short in certain aspects where he's not fulfilling his duties. And majority of it goes back to, and from my experience in the da'wah, a lot of it goes back to men, where a lot of them, they do not fulfill that aspect of spending on their families from certain aspects. Then you got, like we said, you got the extremes. You have the extremes. What I mean by that is, you'll have a husband, and then you have a wife that wants to sacrifice. And he'll take advantage of her, because she knows she don't really want much. She doesn't want that much. And she'll use her to take advantage of her. So no, she don't want nothing. I'll give her $50, she cool. $50, $100, she good. Fine. Then, now he's going to utilize that to get a what? Another wife. Jayid. Or like I said last week, he'll size up a woman. She got public housing. She has a $70K job, $70,000 a year, $80,000. Size her up. She good. She's good. She got an $80K job. She all right. So size her up. So I'm going to utilize this. Take advantage, because all she needs is a little love, a little affection, a little attention. She good. So I have in my mind, I don't got to give her that much money, because she's already got a good job. All she does is just need a little affection, a little attention. She good. Now I'm going to what? Give me another wife. Now at the same time, you get to the situation. Brother, you provided for her? Then the wife will say, no, she isn't giving me anything. You give me $20 here, $30 here, $50 here. What's the agreement? Then it's the problems come in. Well, we didn't agree on nothing. That's your problem, sister, right there. You didn't agree before you married her, or what was what? Supposed to be your maintenance, or what you agree on it, and what he's supposed to do. So if something was to come up short, you will be saying that's his fault, because y'all had everything already organized and set up. He didn't come through with it, khalas, then he's blameworthy. But now when you made it open, just give me what you could give me, now is he blameworthy for it? No, he isn't. I was giving her what she can give you. Even though we know the tricks of our brothers. I know. Men supposed to know better. Ain't no one man out here from us in this masjid going to go for their daughter being treated like that. He's just throwing you little $10 here, $30 here, and next week here, take a little $10 here. Nobody's going for that for their daughter. So you know the trick of the men, but I can't say anything because, sister, you didn't set it up properly for me to give the proper judgment. So he's being slick. I already know it, but I can't say anything. Because the way you set it up and you left it general for him to say, for example, oh, brother, just give me what you could give me. Whose fault is it now? If you left it open like that, he was just giving you what he could give you. Right? I'll give you $5 here, $20. I was giving what you give her, Sheikh. What you gonna do? What can you do? You know he's being slick. You understand what I'm saying? I know, but I can't say anything because you didn't organize it properly. Trust me, I already know the tricks and the trades of all our brothers out here. I know it, I've seen it, I've heard it. I'm quiet and I've remained quiet, I know. But certain things, if it's done properly, you can what? You can find out where the problem is emanated from. But when you leave it general, like how the sisters do, oh, I just told her just to give me what you could give me. And the famous line from sisters is, I just want somebody to teach me. That's the famous line since the 90s. I just want somebody to teach me. No, sister. This is your maintenance. Make a brother what? Do something responsibility. Have some responsibilities. Don't oppress him. Don't go to the opposite extreme, where now you want $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. We ain't saying go to the extremes. Just agree on what, negotiate with the brother in the sit down amongst the wali, because you got to say that all the time, because boyfriend, girlfriend, all that. You have, with the wali present, sit down and discuss and negotiate. Okay, you can't give me $1,000 a month. What can you give me? I could give you $600 a month. Okay, khalas. Let's write down the contract, set the time, the date, when I want it, bang, that's it. When the time and the date comes, so go to the brother, sister, brother, for Allah, this is what we agreed in our contract. What's up? I'm saying this week, I mean. No, you understand? See, well, now you know that it's his fault. Because if you couldn't do it, you should have mentioned that in the contract prior when you made the contract. Right or wrong? See, now the blameworthy person here is what? It's the brother. Jayid? So it minimizes the problem. So now if you go to the masjid to try to get it reconciled, we know that it's him that's coming up short. So then, if we could go on and on all day about problems, about marital problems, to the end of it. For example, now how to deal with each other, how our minds are still, how we deal with each other before we were Muslim, we bring it into our religion with us. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of different epidemics that leads to what? Marital discord, and lead to a lot of problems. But this is one of them that we mentioned here in the class today. This is one of them. For a woman, if she makes these conditions in the contract clear and everybody's upon clarity, it will minimize the what? The headaches and the problems and the back and forth. If she makes it clear in the contract, like we just mentioned and said, if she makes it clear in the contract, then it would alleviate a lot of these different problems that are occurring socially amongst our what? Amongst the married couples. Jayid? So the marriage contract, as we said, in Ibn Uthaymeen, he was talking about discussing that this shurut of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ here, is it speaking about the first, second, third, or fourth category? What's the hadith speaking about? The hadith of Uqbah ibn al-Juhani. What is the hadith? What is this talking about? What is it applied to? Which category? Which one? The first, the second, the third, or the fourth? La. Ahsant. We said the hadith is talking about the second category. Shurut fin nikah. The conditions in the what? In the marriage contract. It's not talking about the first. It's talking about the second. The second is from the awsaf and nikah. As we said, ya ma'ashar al-ikhwa, in regards to the conditions that's made in the contract, that's what the hadith is talking about. So all of these different things that we just mentioned, that's called shurut fin nikah, fi an-nikah, in the contract. That have to be what? fulfilled. طيب, I'm going to read something quickly what Shaykh al-Islam even mentioned. It says about this. He says, what Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah, what he mentions, he says, لو شرطت أن لها الخيار إذا لم يناسبها الوضع أن تفسخ النكاح. قال شيخ الإسلام هذا الشرط صحيح. I won't mention this. Say, for example, go back a little bit. He says الأقسام إذا ثلاثة ما كان ثابتا بمقتضى العقل. We already talked about that. He says, for example, now if a woman mentions, it says in the contract that I have the choice. For example, as we know, I've heard this situation happen before. For example, a man would say, I want you to live with my family. I want you to live all together with my mother, or your wife live with the mother, live with the family together in one house. We know usually that what usually takes place is something usually it doesn't end real well in certain situations. If you don't have two mature women, then usually it doesn't end up very well. طيب, a woman might make a condition and say, إذا لم يناسبني الوضع فلي أن أفسخ العقد. If the situation is not befitting or suits me, then I can nullify the nikah, or I can ask you for khula' and one out. Can a woman make this choice or not? Can she make this choice? This is what Shaykh al-Islam says. Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah says, هذا شرط صحيح. He said, this condition is correct. He says, let's say إذا قالت إذا لم يناسبني الوضع مع أهلك فلي الفسخ وطلب الإنزال في بيت آخر. He said, for example, he said, if the situation is not appropriate for me with your family, then I have the choice or alternative of what? Fasakh, to nullify it. Or for me to seek to live in another place. She could say that also. Or to remove me to another place. He says, listen what he goes on to say. لأنه يقع كثيرا أن يكون البقاء مع الأهل غير مناسب. Even Shaykh Uthaymeen, he said, because you'll find a lot of cases, he says, that remaining with the family is not appropriate. It's not suitable. So for this reason, فهي تحتاط لنفسها فتقول على أني أشترط عليك إن لم يناسبني الوضع مع أهلك فلي الخيار أو أن تسكنني في مسكن آخر. He says, so we should be precautious. She'll say, upon me, or I give a condition upon you, that if the situation is not adequate or the situation is not appropriate with your family, I have the alternative that you allow me to live in another place. He says, this condition is what? Sahih. This condition is what? Sahih. He says, لأنه لمصلحة المرأة وليس مخالفا لمقتضى العقد. He says, because it's for the maslaha, for the benefit of the woman. إذا شرطت أن تكمل دراستها. طيب. Now this is another condition. Even Ibn Uthaymeen mentioned, gives another example. He says, طيب, وإذا شرطت أن تكمل دراستها. What if she gives a condition that she wants to complete her studies? إذا شرطت أن تكمل دراستها, that she completes her studies. He says, تقول هذه ينبغي أن تقيد. He said, this here needs to be restricted. He says, أن يقال نعم نمكنها من الدراسة بشرط إذا قدرنا أن الباقي عليها 3 سنوات نجعل لها 4 سنوات ولا نزيد. For example, he said, however, this condition should be restricted. He says, we said that we allow her to study with the condition that if it just happened, إذا قدرنا, that the rest of the years that's left was, for example, 3 years. He said, نجعل لها 4 سنوات. For example, let's give her an extra year, for example. You might give her an extra year. 4 سنوات, 4 years instead of 3. But however, you no more than that, nor less. As for it to make it just open like that, he said, then this could be a problem. You understand? Just make it open. He says, because some women, they don't really care to pass, for example, some people. They'll care to pass. He said, for example, she might, فَتُرَصِّبُ نَفْسَهَا, she'll make herself flunk. Jahid. So he said he should want to try to restrict it and to bound or to try to negotiate. The best thing for these type of affairs, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, is to what? They negotiate. See what will be suitable for each party. So everyone can have their rights fulfilled and the other side can have their rights fulfill that everybody can what? Live in harmony. And this is the whole appropriate why nikah has been made. Marriage has been made to be harmony. It's not made to be problems after problems after problems after problems after problems and headaches. There's supposed to be some type of harmony in the marriage. It's supposed to be some type of harmony. That's the ayah. Allah Ta'ala says, وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُمْ هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. What happened to that? He's the one that's created from amongst yourselves a wife or a spouse so you can find tranquility in her. Not the opposite. Not to find trivial matters in her. Not to find trivial, disturbing matters in her. You're supposed to find tranquility with each other. And he made between you love and also affection. In that is a sign for one to reflect. طيب. This is why marriage, now on a scale of, one is supposed to look at his marriage or her's marriage. One should look, no doubt, we live in the dunya. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's flawless. This is the reality we live in. Right, everyone? We live in this dunya. There's nothing flawless about this dunya. All of us are going to have ups, downs. That's the dunya. Even the non-Muslims. And it's a shame that even the Muslims go on these what they call them, reality shows, and they have to now look at the reality to see that these movie stars that these people glorify, they have real life problems also. You see that they have problems with cheating, problems with money, problems with this. That's life. It's a shame that the Muslims, man, we just got all these problems. Tell you see the kuffar, they got problems too. You'll see their problems is even worse. They have some major problems going on. And you have to now look at a reality show to find that out. You look at a reality show, man, these people got problems. Now you have to look at the TV to find that out. You understand? So being that the case of a person now, looking at the true reality, what's going on, you look at your marriage. If you look at it, you'll find that what? Look at the level. If it's more happiness, it should be more happiness than what? Hardship. No doubt. There's going to be certain things that Allah Ta'ala mentioned in His book that He said about certain akhlaq from each other. Your spouse is going to see something you detest of those things. Where Allah Ta'ala says in His book, فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ فَعَسَىٰ أَن يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. The Allah Ta'ala says in His book, He's making it clear, if you marry a woman, you're going to see something that's going to irritate you. Allah has already said it in His book. Allah already laid it down. He said, فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ. If you detest them, meaning that when you marry her, you're going to see something that's going to irritate you. And I'm sure the women can also testify for that too, about us men. Jayyid. For if you detest something, and Allah has already made a reality, it's definitely going to happen. You're going to see something that's going to irritate you. For verily, for maybe perhaps that Allah Ta'ala will what? فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا فَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِي ذَلِكَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. For maybe perhaps that thing that you detest, Allah will make it a lot of good. طيب, now look at your marriage on the scale. If it's more what? Ups than it is downs, then what? Then it's a good marriage. Because there's no such thing as a flawless marriage. Women need to get out of these movie fantasy dreams that these kuffar make. It does not exist. To be running on a mountain with flowers, with the sun, and we're all going to be in love, and there's not going to be no problems, and we're just going to live on a flawless beach with blue water skies, and get it out your head. And it's a shame that you have to now look at these stupid reality shows, for even the kuffar now knows that doesn't exist. You see it. These so-called, it's a shame that Muslim women, they look at these reality shows, They be like, wow, these people got some major problems in their lives. Because it doesn't exist. We were meant for the hereafter to be in Jannah. We're not meant to be on this dunya. The flawless life comes in the hereafter. Inshallah, if Allah allows us to enter what? Jannah. This dunya is just a place of tests, trials, and tribulations. It's ups and it's downs. That's the test of your ibadah, of your worship, to see whether or not you're going to tolerate it and conduct yourself properly in accordance to how Allah obliged you to conduct, or what? Or you're going to now fall inside the trap to see you're going to go inside and plunge deeper and deeper inside of kufr and disobedience in order to show that you're not going to be patient. So you fall into something detrimental and worse. So we say, if your marriage now is more happiness and good than bad, you've got a good marriage. If it's more headaches and it's more problems, and there's more problems and more problems, then it needs to be what? Rectified. But know for sure there's no such thing as a perfect, flawless marriage. It doesn't exist. And the dalil for that is to look to all, even the best of us who came from the past. Look to the Prophet ﷺ, what he had to deal with. He was the best of creation, the best of humanity, the most handsome man, the most strongest man, alayhi salatu wasalam. And despite of that, if you look to the seerah, he even went through what? Problems with his wives. Certain situations. Right or wrong? So if he's the righteous one, he alayhi salatu wasalam, best of creation, most handsome man, to the end of, he was very handsome, alayhi salatu wasalam, very manly, very strong, leader, everything. Complete man, alayhi salatu wasalam. And despite of that, women still got on his nerves from time to time. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? So if that's the case, then we have to realize there's no such thing as a flawless marriage in this dunya. It doesn't exist. So, but however he looks on the scale of to show that it should be more good and more what? Than it is bad. And there shouldn't be issues that's that detrimental where it goes inside of haram. For example, not praying. Those things can't be tolerated. Not covering. That can't be tolerated. Man just going out, he's a music producer to the end of it. Those things can't be tolerated. We're talking about little things that come up in akhlaq and behavior that can be tolerated, where people can be patient. And if people would just have some more mercy with each other and do simple things. Come in. And it's a shame that if we look to a lot of marriages, it's a shame, but a lot of us don't do simple things. Just for example, a man come to the house and your wife just give your husband a mere hug. Simple things that we don't do with each other. Just give your husband a hug. Hi, baby, how was your day? That goes a long way with a person. And likewise, vice versa. Man, come in the house, kiss your wife on the forehead. Hi, babe, what's going on? You okay? I'm glad to see you. Simple things like that go a long way in a marriage, and it will put what? Harmony between yourselves. See, like we come in, we got this jahili mental. Bang. What's up? Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Where the food at? You understand what I'm saying? And we think that, I don't understand, we think that stuff is cute or something. I don't know why we think acting mean and acting with no mercy and merciless is something praiseworthy in our religion. That's not from our religion. Prophet ﷺ made it clear to Aqwa ibn Habis al-Tamimi, where he said, Man lam yarham la yurham. To that Sahabi, he says, عندي عشرة, I think it says in the narration, عشرة من الولد ما قبلت منهم أحد. I think I have 10 children, or I think he said, I forgot how many children, the number right now. He says, I don't kiss any of them. He says, so the Prophet ﷺ looked at him kind of stunned. Like, wow. He said, what can I do when the rahmah has been snatched away from a person, or when the rahmah now has been removed? Verily, who doesn't show mercy, he will not have mercy be shown to him. Jayyid. So we come into religion, come to our spouses, come in the house. Babe, what's going on? How you doing? Assalamu alaikum. I missed you today. Are you okay? And women should be able to use their femininity more to get to a man's heart, because that's how Allah made you. Allah made you with that softness. He didn't make you be hard like a dude. What's up? Yo, what's going on? That's not how a woman's supposed to conduct herself. Allah has made women to be soft, to show mercy, to show softness, kindness. Come in the house, man. It's something simple, sisters. Go up to your husband, come in the house, give your husband a hug, kiss on his forehead, or kiss him on the head, or kiss him on the cheek, give him a hug. Babe, how was your day? I'm trying to tell you that will go a long way with a person. You understand? Long way. And likewise, vice versa. Sometimes come in your house, wife might be having a headache. Come in, give her a hug. It takes 2 seconds. It's like nice things. It's like hard on us. Take 2 seconds. Give her a hug. What's up, babe? What's going on? You okay? Everything all right? How was your day? Was it straight? What's going on? Are you okay? You understand? It's just simple things. Man will come home, long 7 hours, come in the house, bang. Where was you at? Oh, here we go. Start off on the wrong foot already. Oh, boy. You understand? So we'll stop here, bi'idhnillah. Brothers, you guys are making me laugh today. Stop doing that. So any questions from the sisters, just pass them over now, bi'idhnillah. Jazakumullah khairan. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك. تفضل يا عبد الله. Mm-hmm. I thought that was all the first category. Second. It's the second. Shaykh Uthaymeen mentions it as the second. Even though it sounds like it would be the first. So Shaykh Uthaymeen, even others from Ahl-Ilm, Shaykh Salih Fawzan, I'll read it to you if you want me to. He says the second. You was here last week, wasn't you? Just a second. Hold on for a second. No, I'm listening to you. I'm asking. Abdullah. Second, you don't have to make any conditions for the second. جيد. الشيخ صالح فوزان she says شروط جمع الشرط والشرط اللغة العلامة والشرط إلزام أحد المتعاقدين للآخر بموجب العقد بشيء له فيه مصلحة. He says shart here in this hadith, he says is to bind upon one of the two parties to bind from one aspect of a party, bind upon another, and that which is in accordance with the contract, with something that has in it a benefit for them, a maslaha, meaning that which will bring the benefit for both parties, they'll bring harmony between the two spouses. That's not in what's in the conditions or the arkan of what makes the marriage valid. That which makes the marriage valid is one thing. That which brings benefit to the marriage, to harmonize it, is another. You understand? You understand where I'm coming from? You understand where I'm coming from? Shuhud, mahar, all that was what brings the marriage into reality. Jayid. But that's not what's going to bring harmony. Exactly. That's going to cause problems. Yes, it does. If it's not fulfilled, then the woman could cancel it out. It's done. Absolutely. She can seek a khula' on the basis that, khalas, you didn't fulfill the condition. It's done. Then now we're going to what? We're not married anymore till now. Once the marriage has been nullified, then the private parts are not halal no more. Because she also chose for not to continue the marriage because the man didn't fulfill his conditions, or vice, or the opposite. I had a question about divorce, right? For the brothers is this such thing like a blameworthy divorce? Let's say the woman, she's praying, she needs your help. Okay. You understand though, Abdullah? What I just mentioned said? Do you understand? She could No, just the point that I made, though. Do you understand the difference, though? The point of what's the difference between what makes the marriage valid and what brings harmony in the marriage for the benefit of the marriage. You understand? If you bring certain conditions in the contract, is to bring harmony, to try to bring benefit for both parties. Those conditions also make the private parts halal, and which also brings harmony to the marriage. They have to be fulfilled, or hence, if it's not fulfilled, then a person can just say, "Listen, I don't want to be married anymore. It's done. Due to the fact I made this stipulation, the contract wasn't fulfilled. Now, I went out the marriage. It's over." Absolutely. The marriage still be valid. No. The Prophet ﷺ here is saying here that the reason there's a difference in what validates the marriage and the most important conditions that's made in order to fulfill the main goal of marriage is not just to be married. And that's it. It has to be mercy, it has to be love, it has to be some type of cohesiveness. That's from the maqasid of nikah. It's from the contentions of why marriage is even been legislated. It's just legislated so we can walk around like robots and I'm married to her, I don't know what's her name? You understand? So there's conditions that are brought inside the contract to bring harmony. That also likewise, there has to be made in it to bring about a higher, bigger goal, which is the harmony and the mercy and the mawadda and the love, which also likewise plays a part in the furuj being halal and the actual private parts being lawful for one another. Those shurut need to be fulfilled. If they're not fulfilled, then one of the parties can seek a what? Abrogation, or they can seek for the aqd nikah to be abrogated. Done. Because those conditions not fulfilled, I'm not going to continue my relations with you. We have to stop because we're supposed to start. Wow. I'll explain it to you later, Abdullah, because we're supposed to stop. I'll explain it to you later. Say it one more time. See the question.
Like for example, a sister doing what she's supposed to pray, and the brother's taking advantage of her, and he leaves her or abandons her. Right?
Well, abandons her, that's dhulm.
Not abandon her, but let's say he divorces her for no apparent good reason. So would that be a blameworthy divorce? Because we know that divorce is halal, but it's hated in the sight of Allah. And the person abandoned, when I mean abandon, I mean divorces, leaves like a sister in need. Would that be,
If he leaves a sister in need and we wasn't provided for her in the first place, then that's still dhulm. That's still oppression. Was he providing for her before? Or then he just automatically said, "Khalas, I'm done with you." Was he providing for her in the marriage?
Just thinking, what if the sister's doing what she's supposed to do? You still divorce her. You know that she may need you or may have needed you. So
no doubt we could say the man is definitely blameworthy. I don't know if you could call it blameworthy divorce. I never heard none of the ulama use that. But we could definitely say that the man is blameworthy for treating a woman in that way, in that manner. You could say that he's sinful for oppression. You Because if he does that, where he left her in a state where she's subjected to harm, then that's a type of oppression. No doubt. Where he just left her automatically out of nowhere. She wakes up one day, the husband just pulls out his bills, money out of nowhere, just left her there. That's dhulm, that's oppression. For example, I wake up one morning, husband moved out. She don't know why, when, how. She didn't even know. She didn't prepare. He just upped and out. That's oppression. That's oppression. So now what's she going to do? Either goes to a shelter or she got to go to a... That's a form of oppression. We say that's a dhulm. For a man just to up and out just automatically like that and just to leave a woman that type of situation, that's a form of oppression. If it's been established, that's the case. You got to look. See, these type of questions about marriage or divorce, Abdullah, you can't really, only can generally answer it. But you also got to look inside the depths and details of a lot of situations. I'm trying to tell you, I've seen some situations where it looked like the man was making it look like the woman was just crazy and she was just acting berserk and and then you got to get to the real nitty gritty of why she's acting like that, you find that the man was doing something. He was doing something he shouldn't have been doing. So you'll find, for example, he might have been, and you find situations where it is the woman that actually might have, for example, the woman might say, if you get married again, I'm out. She threatens divorce. Type, in that situation, is that his fault? So your brother would say, babe, I want you to stay. No, if you get married again, I'm done. I'm out. I'm done. I don't care what you say. Okay. You understand? So he gets married again and then he divorced her. You understand? Now, if that's the situation, then we say, well, that's her fault. Now, you could reverse it and say, for example, now if the man oppress her and say, listen, you're not attracted, I'm not attracted to you anymore. I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm getting another wife. I've told men and brothers on many occasions, do not do that or say that to a woman. Men know whether or not, of course, there might be a woman that you're attracted to physically to. You might marry a woman that you are physically attracted to. Allah already said that in the Quran. That's the meaning of the adl that Allah already said in the Quran you will never be just with. When the tafsir of the ayah is that you might find one more attractive than the other. That might be the case. Where your heart is inclined towards that one than the other, but you're not supposed to show it or say it. Not supposed to tell your wife to her face, you ugly, you know what I mean? You fat now, you know what I mean? You fat, so I'm going to look for something more nice. Not supposed to say that to nobody. Why you say that to her? What's your reason? That's not how you treat a person. So we say that in this instance here, right, that the man is blameworthy for that. Those type of words shouldn't even be used with a woman in the first place. So that's the reason why we say, if you feel that way truly, then look for another wife, but at the same time, maintain your kindness with your first spouse. Maintain your kindness and treat her nice. If you feel that now you're not going to fulfill her rights because of that issue, then depart from her kindness, and that's it. It's that simple. But for you now to remain in the marriage and discredit her and treat her unfairly and say foul words and vile words and break her down and break her emotions down and break her down as a human being, that's oppression. And break her mental state down like she's nothing. Like she's just a fat blob walking around. Because I've seen situations where women are truly mentally messed up because of these situations. Men speaking terrible words. Saying that, you got stretch marks in your babe, I can't take that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're going to have to do something about that. The legs are getting jiggly. Those things, that's from before we was Muslim. That's all from prior Islam, how he used to treat women. Not in Islam. If that's how you truly feel, then there's a way you deal with it. If you feel that that's an issue, then what? If you want to try to find another wife, and that's because that's the issue, okay, find it. But at the same time, you don't have to defame her, and you don't have to speak those type of words to her. Treat her nice, and if you feel that you're not going to be able to fulfill her rights, again, like I said, then you just part from her in kindness, and that's it. But if a man does that, then he's blameworthy. He's not supposed to speak to a person like that whatsoever. That's not tolerated from anyone. It's not for a man to speak to a woman to speak to a man like that in that manner, nor is it for a man to speak to a woman in that manner. Because everyone now has to look at, we are more than likely going to have daughters, and if a person treated your daughter like that, you would be highly upset. Someone said to your daughter, you fat, ugly, you got stretch marks, you got a gut, I don't like the way you look. You're going to be upset. Like, why you say those things to my daughter? Right or wrong? We'll stop here, inshallah, because we're supposed to do this other thing. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه